On an ordinary morning in August of AD 79, the city of Pompeii was beginning another day of business, trade, and daily life. Merchants were preparing their shops, craftsmen were opening their workshops, and families were moving through the streets of one of the most prosperous cities in the Roman Empire. For its residents, Pompeii represented success. Located along the Bay of Naples, it benefited from trade, fertile farmland, and a strategic position within the Roman world. Elegant villas lined its streets, public baths attracted citizens from across the city, and the distant silhouette of Mount Vesuvius formed a familiar backdrop to everyday life. What the people of Pompeii didn't know was that they were living through the final day of their civilization. Within the next 24 hours, their city would disappear beneath volcanic ash and rock, becoming one of the most famous archaeological sites in human history. The tragedy of Pompeii is not simply a story about a volcanic eruption, it is a story about how ordinary people react when disaster arrives without warning. It is a story of missed signals, impossible decisions, and a final struggle for survival against a force of nature that no one could control. By the summer of AD 79, Mount Vesuvius had remained quiet for generations. Most residents did not view it as a threat. In fact, many probably did not even realize that the mountain overlooking their city was an active volcano. Yet beneath the surface, enormous pressure had been accumulating for years. Ancient records suggest that small earthquakes had struck the region in the years leading up to the eruption. Buildings occasionally shook, cracks appeared in walls, and unusual activity was reported around local water sources. However, earthquakes were relatively common in the region, and most residents treated these events as little more than inconveniences. As the morning progressed, life continued as usual. Traders negotiated prices, ships moved through the Bay of Naples, children played in the streets. The city had no reason to suspect that one of the deadliest volcanic disasters in European history was only hours away. Then, sometime around midday, everything changed. Without warning, Mount Vesuvius erupted with extraordinary force. A massive column of ash, gas, and volcanic debris exploded into the sky, rising kilometers above the mountain. The Roman writer Pliny the Younger, who witnessed the event from a distance, later described the cloud as resembling a giant pine tree stretching into the heavens. For the people of Pompeii, the sight must have been terrifying. Within a short time, ash began falling across the city. At first, many residents likely believed they could simply wait for the eruption to pass. Others gathered their belongings and prepared to leave. Neither group understood how much worse the situation would become. As the afternoon turned to evening, the eruption intensified. The sky grew darker, ash accumulated on rooftops, and breathing became increasingly difficult. Families faced impossible choices. Should they remain inside their homes and hope for safety, or attempt to escape through roads that were becoming more dangerous with every passing hour? Throughout the night, panic spread across the city. Some residents fled toward the coast, others sought shelter indoors. Many were separated from loved ones in the confusion. The darkness created by the ash cloud was so complete that survivors later described it as being unlike any night they had ever experienced. Then came the final catastrophe. During the early hours of the following morning, a series of pyroclastic surges raced down the slopes of Mount Vesuvius. These superheated waves of gas, ash, and volcanic material moved at tremendous speed, destroying everything in their path. For those who remained in Pompeii, there was little chance of survival. Within hours, a thriving Roman city had effectively ceased to exist, and yet Pompeii's story did not end there. For centuries, the city remained buried beneath layers of volcanic material. Buildings, streets, artwork, and even the final moments of many victims were preserved with astonishing detail. When archaeologists eventually uncovered the site, they discovered something extraordinary, a complete snapshot of Roman life frozen at the moment of disaster. Today, nearly 2,000 years later, Pompeii continues to offer historians a unique window into the ancient world. Its destruction was a tragedy, but its preservation created one of the most remarkable historical records ever discovered. The people of Pompeii never expected that morning to be their last. Like countless others throughout history, they believed tomorrow would arrive as it always had.